You know what? This is not the video that I thought we would be making at any point during the World Championships this year. Sure, we had our Canucks guys going to the tournament, and you saw some guys showing off well, Connor Garland scoring multiple goals, Tyler Myers diving out in front and not doing anything while also scoring some goals too. But we had ourselves probably the best story, Canucks related at least, at this World Championships wrap itself up about 3 or so hours ago. We're talking today about Team Latvia, one of the hosting nations of the entire event, and how they have just clawed, itched, and battled their way into making the semi-finals of the entire tournament. This is as far as they've ever gone, I'm pretty sure. At least I think that's what Gord Miller said on the broadcast, but either way, earlier today you had yourselves Latvia defeating Team Sweden in the quarterfinals with a score of 3-1. Now, on May 27th, Saturday, you're going to have Canada versus Latvia, and then Germany versus USA. Then you're going to get yourselves the finals matchup on May 28th. But Latvia is in the Final Four, and with Canada, USA, and Germany as their other competitors, it's going to be a pretty wide open shot to see who gets that World Championship gold this year. But of course, for an underdog team like Latvia, there always happens to be a hero or two. And earlier in the game, you had a whole bunch of guys scoring goals that... look, most NHL fans are not familiar with Don Lokmelis, Mix Indrasis, or Janis Jaks, but hey... look at who they beat. They beat a team on Sweden that's got the likes of Timothy Liljegren, Lucas Raymond, Leo Carlsson, Jakob Silverberg, Marcus Sorensen, a whole bunch of guys that NHL fans would recognize. But for the Latvians, they went out there and absolutely forced their way into winning 3-1. And the reason that I'm going to go out there and say they've gotten this far is because of the man between the pipes, Arturs Silovs. Now, Canucks fans, y'all know who Silovs is. He suited up for the Vancouver Canucks to play a few games towards the middle to ending parts of 22-23, where he looked pretty good, all things considered. But at the World Championships, he's got 8 games played in the tournament, a .926 save percentage, and a .200 goals against average. In this most recent game against the Swedes, Silovs had 41 saves on 41 shots. The guy had a whole bunch going for him, and just the overall level of athleticism that we have seen out of Silovs in this tournament, it's very difficult to try to find some sort of a comparison or a similar anecdote, because this is just such a unique story here. Silovs was drafted back in the 6th round in 2019 by Vancouver, and ever since then, it's just been a very steady upward trajectory for him in his play. Yes, he was playing in the prime Latvian league when he was drafted, but eventually went over to the OHL, struggled a little bit, not gonna lie, and then went back to Latvia. The Canucks were very patient with Silovs and his development, as last year in 21-22, he had spent the bulk of his time with the Trois-Rivières Lions in the ECHL, so the 3rd-tier professional league here in North America. He also played for Latvia at the World Championships, where he had beastly numbers over there too, .952 save percentage, .122 goals against in 4 games, although he did not end up going as far in the tournament because, unfortunately, Latvia didn't have a good run that year. And then this season, in the AHL with the Abbey Canucks, he did have a pretty alright stint too. .909 save percentage, 44 games played. He was the main guy in Abbey. He played the bulk of the games, he had 44, and while he wasn't, top of the league, just absolute number 1 save percentage territory, he still was good enough to say, hey, the guy's 21, 22 years old. He is developing, and he's looking pretty alright in the AHL. This is okay. In the playoffs, though, he had a .914 save percentage. He was pretty alright there. It's just in this World Championship tournament where he's playing for a Latvian team that is the host city, so you're seeing all the fans go out there cheering, chanting this guy's name. For some reason, Silovs has gotten better. He plays better when he's going up against international competition, and he just kind of allows himself to get into that zone. You've seen the clips of the crazy split saves he's making, the stretches he's doing across the goal line, just the quality of these saves, and the amount too. All in front of his home crowd. This is a story for the ages, and realistically, with Arturs Silovs being this good, it really starts to get you wondering, okay, where does this guy go next year? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not implying that Arturs Silovs is going to take Thatcher Demko's job anytime soon, but the very productive sort of way that Silovs has been developing begs the question as to what you decide to do with this guy 2-3 years down the line. The Vancouver Canucks, if you really want to go out there and say that Colin Delia is not the backup they need, or Spencer Martin may not be the backup they need long term, may not need to look too far if they wanted to see who could be that 1A, 1B-ish sort of split off with Demko. Now, Demko is going to be the number one, but if you really wanted to make sure that he's able to recuperate and bounce back in the ways that we know he can, maybe not giving him 60, 65 games right off the bat is a good idea, but that's just kind of my hypothesis here. For Silovs, because he is so young, there's a lot more potential for him to grow into something even better, and ultimately, what happens in the next few games worth of play at the World Championships could determine whether or not Canucks fans are fully on that train or not. Now, don't get me wrong, I know a lot of Canucks fans have been watching the games, they've been tuning in once in a while when it's on, and the game today had a lot of Canucks fans just excited and hyped up, not just for Silovs, but for Latvia as a whole. For some reason, there's a very infectious sort of vibe with this country and the way that they perceive their hockey. They love the sport, you could definitely tell, just with the amount of supporters that are on the streets at night when they're watching these games, when Arturs Silovs makes some great saves, and when they win their games. It seems like the entire country of Latvia comes to life with excitement and anticipation for what could happen next. So for Arturs Silovs, I mean, you want to talk about Latvian goaltenders coming into the NHL and making an impact? Well, Silovs could be the very next one. And it's not even like he was all too bad when he played in the NHL this year anyway, too. I mean, the guy had 5 games played, a .908 save percentage, and he did have a considerably good resume. There was that shootout win that he had against, who was that against? Let's go Silovs, shootout, NHL. Let's see who that was against, because I can't recall off the top of my head. It was against the Predators. Yes, there you go. Nashville, earlier on this year on March the 7th. So Silovs had a pretty good resume so far, especially for a guy that's so young, but now at the World Championships, I mean, they're playing off against Canada on the Saturday game, so we'll see if they're able to go out there and beat Tyler Myers. Myers actually scored a goal too, so that's going to be pretty nice to follow up with. I know for every good play that Tyler Myers makes, there's like 5 bad plays, so I'm not really holding my breath too much that he's going to be too amazing next year, but at the very least, there are some goals from Conor Garland that make things interesting too, and of course, Silovs is the one headlining all the Vancouver Canucks stories at this tournament, but either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Arturs Silovs and the way he's been playing. What are your thoughts about Latvia defeating Sweden today? And what are you anticipating for Saturday's game against Team Canada? If you're a Canadian fan, what are your thoughts on this matchup? Who are you going to be cheering for? Are you cheering for Silovs to get the win? Or do you want Tyler Myers and the Canadian boys to come out here and come out on top? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this Juraj 9, and bye.